Now, that just happened / did you catch that? Let's get into the first part of it. That just happened. I talked about this before, about optimization in the gaming industry and how, quote unquote, just so many games are just not running properly. Between that and Unreal Engine 5, just not hitting it, you know? Looks pretty. Graphically, atmospherically, looks gorgeous. Some gorgeous, good games, but they just run like shit. And the latest victim is Borderlands 4. Borderlands 4 is facing a huge backlash, possibly boycotts over its performance and controversy over the CEO, Randy Pitchford, and his Twitter comments, and pretty much just talking down to anyone who has anything negative to say about the game. I am not a huge PC gamer. I'm primarily a console gamer. I do dabble in PC sometime, and I do have a Steam Deck OLED. But on PC, they say the game runs people who have 5090s, sexy rigs, computers that can run top-of-the-line performances, and it's struggling to not only hit 60 frames, but it's struggling to just run at a consistent performance rate, period. On consoles, they say on PlayStation and Xbox, the longer you play the game, the more the frames suffer, to the point you have to just shut the game off and reboot into it in order to fix that. And Randy Pitchford has commented and agreed upon that and said, hey, just turn exit out the game and come back into it. And that's a problem. Trice, how do you feel about this?
I'm going to try to say this as calm as possible. These companies have become way too comfortable releasing broken, incomplete, not fully fleshed out games. And the fact that this is even an issue in 2025, we have the best technology in gaming history ever, is it's a shame. And it should be Borderlands should be ashamed of themselves. Like, you go through a testing, you go through pre-production, you go through focus groups. Like I'm saying, there's so many things that these game companies go through before the release. They do testing, they do stress tests, they do all these things. So I find it to be no excuse. There is no excuse for a game to come out like this. And the fact that it's an issue on all platforms, PC and consoles, that means you didn't give a shit about anybody. Not the PC users or the console users. You didn't give two fucks about anybody. You just pushed this shit out. You did a DC on the Justice League movie move. Like, just push that shit out. And Borderlands has been around for a while. Did they give this somebody new to develop? Like, how does this happen? This is not your first rodeo. So we expect a certain level of competency, or a certain level, like, hey, we already know what's expected. Some things might hiccup here and there, but listen, this is the line. This is the line that you're going to get. Nothing below that. This is the line. And for you to still push out this bullshit is just crazy. This is a AAA game. They're very expensive, and people expect polish when they buy these expensive games on systems that are supposed to handle it. All that optimize and all that bullshit, that just means they had 12 people working on something that should have took probably 50. And this is the product that you're going to get, and this is what is going to continue to happen when they do that. And this is a major studio. Like, this is not no mom and pop. This ain't no this is their first go around. It's Borderlands 4. Once again, I feel like this is a fuck you to the community, and therefore I'm saying fuck you back then, bitch. Like, not buying that shit. And anybody that's dealing with this shit, I'm not gonna apologize for them, but I am sorry, because when you spend your money on a game and they're the most expensive they've ever been, you should just get a certain level of, and this ain't it, mobile game price bullshit. No. Yeah, so they deserve everything that the community is doing. Backlash, boycott, they need to start giving some refunds. They deserve everything. And that's just my quick.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because the
CEO
did say that. The CEO did say that on Twitter, that if you have a problem with the game and its performance, refund it or don't buy it. He did come out and say that. Piggybacking off of what you also said about the games. Now, a lot of people have said it's an Unreal 5 issue. Unreal 5
I'm sick of hearing that. I'm sick of hearing that. They've been saying that for how long? Unreal 5. Fuck.
They have. And my takeaway is that's just a cop-out excuse. Because before this generation started, you had games on PS4 and Xbox One that came out in a bad state or not always necessarily, just true dog shit. But, little touches up. Actually, I could tell you where it all started to happen. When every game came out and we had a reliance on the quote-unquote day one patch. Oh, the game went gold. It's pressing on disk. Yeah, they're working on day one patch. Why wasn't the day one patch put on the disk? Why wasn't that optimization made with the game? If Unreal Engine 5 is the true culprit of this, why the fuck do you all keep using said engine?
They cheat.
To blame it on Unreal Engine 5 is a cop-out. You all, like as you said, have gotten lazy and comfortable because us as the consumer have just keep buying and buying and buying this bullshit. And then you all are like, oh, well, thank you. We made record profits. It made this amount of money in 3 days. We'll have the game fixed in a year. And that's a problem. Todd Howard infamously said it during an interview. It's not about how you launch a game. It's about how you finished. Because they are comfortable with releasing half-ass, broken, dog shit games and be like, oh, well, we'll fix it as you buy it. The more you buy it, the more we'll fix it. And that's ridiculous. But
who the fuck do you think you are to tell me that? The fuck?
Oh, yes. He said this in the interview. It's not about how you launch a game. It's about how you finish. He said that. We fix it as we go. And not even just that, but is everyone really surprised that Borderlands 4 has quote unquote technical issues? Borderlands 3 launched and it had problems. I believe I said on the last episode, you would hit the menu button to bring up your inventory, your backpack. The game would stutter. The game would stutter. And the more inventory you had, the longer and harder it stuttered. And I don't think they ever fixed that problem. I believe that stuttering issue is still in the game to this day. So is it an Unreal Engine 5 problem? Or is it, like I said, laziness and unoptimization? There are too many games, too, that launch in half-ass, weakened states. And then when us, the consumer, complains, brings it to attention, somehow we're wrong. Somehow we are expected to buy shit product and just be happy. But then when you all, and I mean you developers, studios, when you all go bankrupt or you have to close because your game did not sell, you look at us, well, this is your fault. You made an inferior, no one has to purchase inferior product and be happy with. You think Ford can sell their flagship Explorer with no wheels and be like, oh, well, we'll get to that, bro. You think Chevy can ship Tahoes and say the engine is the part of the season pass? We'll get to that, later on down the line. We'll put an update to it. That's not how this works. Do you think going to see the new Batman movie 3/4 into the film, they're like, pause, you all have to come back 4 months from now and we'll add the next part of the movie. If you buy the season pass 1 month earlier, that's not how that works. And this CEO, this Randy Pitchford, this is not his first time being so publicly open and running his mouth in the public sector like this. He has a lot of gall and very lot of audacity to believe that his game is just beyond, and it's not. Your company, all these companies, developers, hear me good. I need all y'all to hear that, especially you, Nintendo. You got the way that you got because of the consumer. If we don't purchase, you don't eat. And I don't understand. I don't. How in 2025, and as you said, this ain't their first rodeo. This is the 4th mainline game in the series. You launch a game in a broken state. Now, I will say this. It performs worse on PC than it does on console. But they're supposedly the master race. My whole thing is too many people have gotten okay with mediocrity, and that's a problem. Mm-hmm. Too many consumers are okay with, all games come like that. They'll fix it eventually. Then why the hell are you buying it? Why are you okay with
FOMO?
It? And this is going to feed into, that's true too, FOMO. FOMO is very real. But this also is going to feed into another segment we have for this episode. The casual, you have many people, the casual market, who does not pay attention to reviews, pay attention to interviews and game news and etc. They just see the billboard ad, they see the commercial ad. Oh, Borderlands 4. Well, it had to have been good to have gotten a 4. The first 3 must have been so great. And then they go and they do as consumers do. And that is also a problem. It is highly, highly unacceptable that this is where we are in this generation, to where console, I'm not even going to say gaming technology, entertainment technology as a whole is at an all-time high. You have production studios that when their CGI is done, second to none. It's immaculate. How are you churning out these games and they run like shit? And going back to what you said, the QA testing, the mock reviews, all this shit is done in-house. Someone had to say, hey, Phil, hey, do you see that glitch happening? Oh, Eric, nice catch. It's move along. Just push it through. It'll be all right. That's crazy.
I really, on a bucket list as far as this podcast, would want to interview just a regular guy on a development team of a new game. Because I really want to know, and they'll be anonymous, of course. I really want to know how do we get to these points of games being so broken at release? Because let me do a quick run through of everything that Borderlands 4 is receiving backlash for. First, number 1, performance problems on all platforms. Players are reporting crashes, stutters, and frame rate drops on high-end hardware such as RTX 5090. I don't really that must on PS5 Pro, one issue is a suspected memory leak that makes the game perform worse over time. Damn, so it gets worse the more you play it? Loss of progress and skill points. Big problem. Skill points are being lost when the game crashes or when players disconnect in multiplayer. Why is that always an issue? I swear that one, if your game is having problems, loss of progress is always on the list. And of course, missing poor quality features, lack of field view, slider, toggle for motion blur on consoles has many upset. Players' comfort is a big deal, and these features are kind of standard at this point for shooters. Good point. UI problems, inventory skill tree, comparing loop, design choices confusing and inefficient. And of course, the biggest reason why the backlash is happening is developer communication and being tone deaf. Like you said, Randy has responded in many ways, seen as being very tone deaf, suggesting that people code their own engine if they're not happy, calling the game for premium gamers. He needs to be fired. These responses have added to the fuel to the backlash. List of things. There's some other small issues, and the reputation for Gearbox is taking a major hit. Like I said, people are talking about boycotting, and this is just ridiculous. If this is your 4th time making a sequel to a game franchise, you should never be associated with stuff like this. Boycotting? And gamers will take a lot of shit. So it takes so much for the word boycott to even be brought up in gaming community. So you really fucked up if the gamers are saying we need to boycott. So yeah, that's just a quick rundown of everything that's going on with Borderlands 4. Definitely hit the comments below and let us know. Do you have Borderlands 4? Or do you have these issues? Do you feel like Randy is tone deaf, or is he right? He said, "Baby, go make your own game if you ain't satisfied, bitch." What the fuck? How can he say that and still have a job? That's all I got.
That's pretty much the gist of it. All right, let's move along now to Did You Catch That? And it's a nice subject we like to bring around every now and then. But Nintendo.
Woo! Every week we say
Nintendo just continues to be ain't shit.
Every week we talk about Nintendo. And listen, it's not that we try to. We honestly make these topics and we be like, all right, can we leave Nintendo out of this? Can Nintendo not make it onto the you fucked up list? And they just find a new way to make it on the show for being a fuck up. Good Jesus Christ. But go ahead.
Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct. We talked about that, which I'm noticing they're doing this one particular thing a lot. They don't announce prices for anything at these direct. The Switch 2 price wasn't in this direct, and the games that they just showed and were talking about in the last direct, they didn't. But it has come out that the Mario Galaxy bundle, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, will be $70. I want to say this one more time. $70. Doll hairs. 7 zeros. That is 2 Wii games. 2 generations ago, and they're choosing to make it $70 physically or digitally, or if you are thinking smart, because at the 35th anniversary of Mario, and they did the 35th bundle pack where it had Mario Sunshine, Mario 64, and it had Mario Galaxy 1 in it. They've already released this game once. Now they're re-releasing it to you again, but want more money. But here's the kicker. Should you think like a smart consumer and say, hey, well, I already bought the last one. They want $40 for Mario Galaxy 2 or 1 by themselves. But that's not all. That ain't just it either. It also has come out that there is DLC for the new Pokemon ZA game.
Mm-hmm.
They made a DLC announcement before the game came out. So, that's always bad. Always bad. You showing DLC and the game ain't even came out. The DLC will be $30, which brings the total for the game plus the DLC to $100. But here's the problem. Here's the problem with that.
Subscription pass.
The DLC holds exclusive Pokemon and their Mega Evolutions. So you have to buy the DLC to get Pokemon you like or enjoy. You have to play ranked matches in order to unlock said and their Mega Evolutions. To play online, you need a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, which is $20 or $50. That's more money. And the Pokemon would be distributed out among 3 seasons. I believe there'll be 3 months. So that's 3 months of the subscription you had to pay for.
They said they was gonna fix that.
Wait,
you just want a subscription for a month and bounce.
Oh yeah, they say you're not gonna nickel and dime us. We're gonna get you. But wait, there's also more. I got on their make sure you edit this out. It's Omen. I got on their Nintendo Direct last week about this, but remember Nintendo's greatest failure, the true thing that they have never lived down, the Nintendo Virtual Boy. Oh yes. Not only have they brought back their greatest failure and they're selling it to you, but for $100 whopping dollars.
No fucking
That's
way.
what it costs. Oh yes. Oh yes. The
No.
Virtual Boy stand. I shit you not. I'm just here to report the news, baby. I don't make it. For $100, the Virtual Boy stand is what it costs. Here's also the problem. To play the games, you not only need that $100 Virtual Boy stand, but you also need, say it for me now, a Nintendo online subscription. So you have to pay and then pay more for the game. And that's crazy. That is crazy. Did you all catch that? Nintendo is out here saying, hey, you ain't got bills. You ain't got mouths to feed. You don't have any social obligations but to run your money to Miyamoto and no one else. I'll give it to you, Trice.
No, wait. So what's the plastic full replica version? $9.99. What is that? Cardboard model version $24.99. I just googled.
Oh yeah, so
Boy.
there is a cardboard model if you can't afford, the real thing. They do have a cardboard model. I believe it's $25.
Yeah,
but for the regular Virtual Boy experience,
yeah, $99.
$100.
Yo, they said no. Only we gonna repackage our failure, baby. It's $100. It's a premium to play our failure. What the? Nintendo has lost their fucking minds. God damn it! Every fucking episode, Nintendo loses their shit. Like, what the fuck is it? All right, let me. They have lost their fucking mind.
Bring it on back.
Listen, just off the Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 bundles, slimy work, bruh. For you just had a 35th anniversary. Like, who is determining the pricing? I have to know this. I'm gonna have to look this up because, baby, they just don't give a damn about nothing. And I see that there is a lot of backlash for this pricing because gamers feel like it's is really double dipping, and you're charging somebody twice.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
listen, let's not even get into Pokemon backlash that they getting. You know, people don't play about their Pokemon. Now, anything else you can play in their face a little bit with Nintendo fans, but Pokemon, you trying to drip feed me some shit over several months and then require me to have a subscription and then say you releasing DLC at the announcement of the game, so that really means that shit should have been in the game regardless. So the game is $70, the DLC is
Content.
$30. For $100, I'm still gonna be drip fed after that. How, Sway? How are you comfortable doing that? Why are you? And then we all know that Nintendo is notorious for their games never going on sale. So if that's the price, that's just gonna be the price in 5 years. If we could be on the Switch 3 by then, it's still gonna be the same price. Slimiest company, bro. And then it's like, well, like, how can you justify the $70? Like, what is the value you're really getting out of that $70 for that bundle? I see that the Pokemon fans, they already feel like the game is overpriced at $70. And then plus the DLC, and then plus the subscription. Shit, you might have just priced a lot of kids out of that game. Now, I'm not saying only kids play Pokemon, but I'm just saying, yeah, I don't see a lot of parents spending $130 on a Pokemon game. No. So yeah, that's gonna be real reliant on the grown-ups that play Pokemon, that actually have a job. Oh my, it's just slimy work. And the transparency is not, oh my, I'm just reading through the online shit. It's so much shit being talked in these Reddit groups about Nintendo. Oh my god.
Yes.
And it's gonna go unanswered, because Nintendo ain't gonna say shit. That game's still gonna come out at $70. That DLC is gonna launch with $30, and you still gonna be required to have that subscription. They ain't about to say shit about shit, punk asses. Oh my god. $100 for Virtual Boy? Like, I need to understand. I need to understand how you get to $100 for Virtual Boy. Like, what expenses? Like, how expensive was this to? And then it's only online. You have to have a subscription to play the game, right? Yeah, like, I don't. Sad day. It's a sad day for gamers all around from all these different companies. Listen, even more reason for me not to cut on my Switch. Cause baby, that is truly ridiculous. $130 for a Pokemon game in 2025. That's where we at, people. That is where we at. $100 for a failed IP 20, 30 years ago being priced at $100. That is Nintendo saying, thank you, give me money, bitch. You gonna take what I give you. It's undercooked meat on your plate at a restaurant? So what?
It's pretty messed up, because a lot of people feel, should PlayStation or Xbox do this, take a PS2 game, well, let's say 2 or 3, and be like, hey, you're gonna pay us $70, $80 for it. People will revolt. And here's the killing thing, though. I saw a video of them talking about this. Nintendo makes no mention of these being remasters, remakes. They are just strictly, they took it from the Wii and they gave it to you on the Switch, and they want premium money for it. Now, had it been $40, $20 for each one?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's,
they're
that's reasonable.
Yeah.
No one would have batted an eye.
Not at all. But you want $40 for it a la carte digitally, and then in case someone does want to double dip and have it the first one again, that's $80 a piece or $70 for both. They didn't, and this is how they celebrate their most coveted mascot. It wasn't with a brand new game, something true and groundbreaking, something push the boundary, as their Breath of the Wild did, quote unquote. It wasn't any of that. They said, hey, we're going to sell them old Mario game, and we're going to get top, even Pokemon. Like you said, people don't play about their Pokemon, whether it's the cards. And I guess even though Scarlet and Violet performed very well, even though that game had very bad performance problems, widely and knowingly reported, they just said, all right, well, everyone else nickels and dimes with DLC. How about we do it too? Let's hide some Pokemon and some Mega Evolutions. Yeah, people love that. Why give them so much for free, baby? We can charge them all the way.
And that's exactly why. That is exactly why these these studios that's making these Ghost of Tsushima and these Space Marine complete games and not only selling, they're only selling cosmetics, and Ghost didn't sell anything online. Matter of fact, they allowed you to play the online version without buying the main game. That's how much they was like, hey, if you only want to play online, cool. I think it was like $20-$30 or something. They didn't even have to buy the main game.
I believe it was $20 when they sold it separately.
Yeah, like
Originally, it came out, you needed the game.
yeah, at first, because they didn't think that the online was gonna take off like it did. That's why they need to be celebrated, because this is just nasty work, nasty work. So, and I'm a consumer type where, like with Space Marines, like I said, I bought the season pass too because I felt like the value was overvalued for what I paid. So if you're gonna charge $30 for something, right? At least try to sell it that it's really worth $50 or $60, or let me at least think, or give me the illusion that I'm coming out on top or better. Like Nintendo not even giving the value of the price they're charging. Like, they're just saying, hey, we're going to fuck you over in broad daylight. We don't care if you call for help.
They're like the Men's Warehouse. They said, hey, you're going to buy this shit and you're going to love it. We guarantee it. But that's where Nintendo is with all this. The Virtual Boy. Oh, there was one more. I totally forgot. The Donkey Kong Bonanza had DLC, and people felt that it was a cash grab, that it should have been something implemented into the game itself as part of the end game. Because I guess due to reports, it was bare bones. It wasn't as they were comparing it to Super Mario Odyssey, to where when you beat the game, it had an actual post-game activity and things for you to do. Whereas Nintendo said, hey, you want to play more, you pay more, buddy. And that's how they went along with it.
Yo, they are just too comfortable playing in people's face.
Oh, absolutely.
They just too comfortable. Like, and listen, mind you, a lot of these studios or companies that I complain about, I don't give my dollar to, I don't reward with my money, because I believe you ain't gonna play in my face like that. But PlayStation gets a little slack just because, you know, that's the system I mainly play, and it's all the games is on there. Like I said, they get a little slack. But Xbox, and I have an Xbox, but in Nintendo, I have a Switch. You ain't about to play in my face. I will let that system sit to the point where it becomes vintage before I allow you to play in my face the way they are right now. Fuck Nintendo, fuck Xbox.
So I'm looking at my notes here, and there's one more piece of Nintendo fuckery I missed. There's also the recent controversy in them raising the prices of amiibos. I believe amiibos normally are between $15 to $20. Nintendo has increased the price of certain amiibos standard to $30, $40, and some are $50. The Metroid Prime 4 amiibos are $40, and it looks like the Kirby Air Ride amiibos are $50.
They said, bitch, make it rain.
Like I said,
make it rain on Nintendo products. Make it rain.
Nintendo said, you have no social obligations with your money. You work hard to be a Nintendo fan, and you're going to pay the price.
Listen, it's a luxury to have these
your
products.
Mortgage,
we don't give a damn.
Your cell phone bill.
We don't give a damn.
Your child support payment.
Fuck them kids.
We don't care about it here at Nintendo. You're going to consume. Fuck feeding them kids. Buy them kids Mario. That's one's hungry insane. When they're playing Mario.
That is insane.
Oh, yeah. And normally in the past, Nintendo products do tend to sell out very quickly, especially amiibos. The amiibos have been hot for the longest, but it looks like all of these have went up for pre-order, at least most of them, and they're still available for pre-order. They're still available. Normally they sell out to, Nintendo fanatics, the scalpers, etc. Hell, even the scalpers must say, like, hey, I can't move this. You want it for $50. There's no way I can resell it for anything higher than. Yeah, I know I'm going to get flack in the comment section, Nintendo fans, but I want to say this. My co-host adds anything or we move on. Nintendo fans, I need you to hear me well. You are the reason Nintendo is the way that it is. You have made Nintendo successful, but in In doing so, Nintendo is not your friend. Nintendo is a billion-dollar corporation that gives two shits about you and your family. And a lot of you will defend these prices saying like, oh, the better quality or they added more. Whatever the case is, I need to reiterate something. In PS2 and early 360 generation, games came complete. There was no updating. There was no re-release. There was no we will fix it later. The game was what it was. You either made a dud or you made something spectacular. And all these corporations are too calm with releasing inferior product. And I'm going to say this, even Nintendo is too calm with releasing inferior product because you can go back to, I'll say not the Wii, maybe not the Wii, you ain't probably the early days of the Switch. Most Nintendo games, at least first party, they don't get updates. I believe if the Kirby game where he can like suck up a car or something like that. If I remember correctly, that game is still on its 1.0 version. There were no updates made. It was feature complete and it just worked. As time went on, that is not how all Nintendo games are. Those Muso games, the Calamity one, and it was another they made. They suffer from bad, poor frame rate. Tears of the Kingdom had to be updated multiple times due to frame rate issues, stuttering, and everything else going on with it. New Nintendo is here, and they feel, hey, if everyone else is fucks over everybody for money, why can't we?
Yeah.
We the originators.
Look, we
need
to sit
the
at
game
the
industry.
table. They eating, we need to eat.
Yeah, they update their games as they go along. We can do that too. Because in no way in this world, a 2-generation-old game is $40. And that's $40 with no touch-ups. PlayStation releases, I believe it's the classic game catalog. They release games on there, a la carte, some bundled, the Soul Reaver 1 and 2. I believe that was $20, maybe $30. I could be wrong, but that's from the PS2. And all they do is just, make sure they can run the new systems, maybe a little spruce here and there, and they call it a day. The new Legacy of Kain Defiance is on PlayStation. That's a PS2 Xbox original game. They are not charging $40.
Yeah, because it's
Nintendo fans.
It's not all that strenuous. It's not hard. Like they're doing minimum things to make sure it just runs. So, like, what are you trying to recruit in that price? You ain't recouping nothing. That's all profit. Then, like, you're really up all here. Profit. It's a scam right in the face of your consumers. Oh my
Nintendo fans, I'm gonna say it loud and clear, and we're gonna move on. Nintendo is not your friend. They do not know you. They do not care about you. And their success is predicated on you opening your wallet. And in 2025, I'm going to say this for every gamer, casual, hardcore, weekend warrior, in between, whatever. Everyone has a backlog. Now, yes, Nintendo games, they don't drop in price. You can change that. If you don't buy it when it first comes out, they'll change their tune. And I can give a clear example. When the 3DS and the PS Vita launched and they both struggled to sell and move the needle, Nintendo humbled themselves. Not only did their CEOs take a price cut, but they also lowered the price of the system. It went from $250 to $170, and that's when it picked. But also, technically, the 3DS was a failure because it only did somewhat half of the original DS. The original DS was 154.1 million. It is the closest anything ever came to that 155, now 160 PS2 sales. But if you don't buy, Nintendo will learn and they will course correct and do better. Because during 3DS era, baby, Nintendo, they gave away games, things for their consumer. The Wii U did not sell. And guess what? They went back to the drawing board and they got humbled. They came out with the Switch 1. It was $300. Yeah, the games were $60, but hey, they had to put in a little work. But hear me out. If you don't buy, they will get their shit together. Put your comments, your thoughts, criticisms in the comment section. Let us know how you feel. Nintendo fans, I know I hear the fires start. I see the pitchforks. I see you coming for me, but you know what I say is true. And that's it for this video of Are You Not Entertained podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll never miss our next hot take. Until next time, are you not entertained?